Welcome back to How to Cake It. I'm Yolanda. It is almost Halloween and you guys have been asking me for a pumpkin. So I caked a pumpkin. Let's do this, pumps! Pump daddy. To make my pumpkin cake, I needed 19.5 pounds of pumpkin spice batter.
Yum!
I've removed my cakes from their pans, leveled them, and cut the caramelization away from the bottom. Oh.
Your little pumpkins are so cute.
What looks worse, this headband or my zit? Can you see my zit?
No, we can't see it.
For the full pumpkin spice cake recipe and to see how I divided my batter between my pans, head to howtocakeit.com and check it out. But we have a brand new website and I want to know what you guys think of it. And I want to know if you bake a pumpkin spice cake. That's right, pumps. This is your month. People think that's a stem. It's not.
What is it?
It's a hand. Time to start building a pumpkin cake, but first I need to simple syrup all of my pumpkin spice layers. Yes, Sir Squeeze, you did a great job. Yes, I love your costume. You look exactly like a mummy. I'm gonna stack and fill my cakes, beginning with a smaller cake on the bottom, getting two wider cakes in the middle, and then a smaller one on top again. I decided to fill this cake with chocolate ganache because I love the way that chocolate and pumpkin taste together. Plus, it's sturdier, so it's a double win. I'm also going to make use of the humps that I cut off my pumpkin spice cakes. So I take the 5 cake humps that I have, sort of level them a little bit, and from 4 of my humps, I'm going to cut a quarter of a circle. So 4 humps are going to be cut and make up one 10-inch round. Then I sandwich those 4 quarters of a circle to the top of my cake, and then I sandwich the final round hump on the very top. Now, I know we're in Halloween mode, but I just want to take a moment to jump ahead in time. Who even wears this?
You!
It will be available at howtocakeit.com on November 1st, right after your day. As soon as you're done, we've cut you open, we've pulled your guts out, shoved a light in you, then it's time to wear this hat. I chill my cakes for 20 minutes so the ganache filling becomes solid, and now it's time to carve. Sorry, pumps. That's the way it is. I began carving by marking out an 8 wedge pattern on the top of my cake. And I used those lines to help guide my carving. So not only am I tapering the top, like here, but I'm also remembering to taper down the bottom. And now you're also removing all of the caramelization from the sides of your cake. So you're not aiming to get a perfect sphere that doesn't look, you know, pumpkin-esque. At the top of my pumpkin cake, I made sure to carve a little nook so that the stem would have somewhere to sink into. Now it's time to crumb coat and chill my pumpkin cake. You want to do the honors? He's dancing.
His eyes are so cute.
I used my Italian meringue buttercream and a small offset spatula to crumb coat and chill my pumps. My crumb coat is chilled. I'm gonna ice my pumpkin one more time, chill it again, and then smooth out any ridges in the buttercream by using my small spatula and just adding a little more, or you can wet your fingertips and smooth them out. I dyed 5 pounds of white fondant, the perfect pumpkin color. Using my French rolling pin, I roll up my big sheet of fondant and then quickly pick it up and drape it over my pumpkin. Whenever you're picking up really large pieces of fondant, it's important to work quickly because you don't want it to rip. So get it onto your cake as fast as you can and immediately use the palms of your hands to try and smooth it to the sides. At the top where you carved the little nook for the stem, if there's air caught inside, use a pin to just release that air and gently ease that fondant down into the nook with your fingertips. You'll need to cut away the excess fondant at the bottom of your pumpkin. Try to do this as neatly as you can, cutting little by little with a sharp knife. If you find you have a lot of large noticeable creases where you tucked in and cut your excess fondant away, chill your cake, mix some water into a small amount of your fondant and use it as a paste to patch that crease. It's time to make this big orange ball look like a pumpkin. And you do this by adding all these lovely indents. You have the nicest skin. To create the indents, I used a couple of sculpting tools, running them from the top center of my pumpkin all the way down to the bottom. The great thing is they're actually not equally spaced. Well, I mean, I guess it's great, but I would have enjoyed using a measuring tape. If you find your fondant is too soft at this point, pop your cake in the fridge for a little bit, because if it's too soft, you might just poke that sculpting tool right through. It's time to make my pumpkin's high five hand, or as Jocelyn thinks it's called, a stem. Although a pumpkin's stem is a dark green on the outside, if you look at the top, can I just show them your head for a minute? Thank you. It's actually a very light yellowy green on the inside. So that light green color is the color I dyed my gum paste. I begin making the stem by rolling out a thick tube of gum paste that I feel is long enough for my pumpkin cake. And then I use the same sculpting tools I used to make the indents to make a ton of indents in the gum paste. I just basically held onto the tube, went round and around making indents, just going wild with indents. Your time's almost up, so I want to get a pic. Oh, excuse me. Just excuse us for a minute. 1, 2, 3. Fly grip! I just can't smile like you. Time to insert a lollipop stick into the bottom of my stem, just to give it some support when it has to stand up on the pumpkin. I chose to set my stem onto a cake dummy that I had. I just pushed the lollipop stick into the dummy, and now I have an upright stem that I can paint. Time to paint this stem. I'm using a combination of green food coloring and clear alcohol. I paint the whole stem with my green, and don't worry, it looks really dark to begin with, but we're gonna add texture. I begin to add texture to the stem by using paper towels to wipe off a lot of the color. Then I use the sharp edge of my paring knife to scrape away paint and also scrape away some of the gum paste. As the gum paste is drying, it's getting a harder skin on the outside and it begins to scrape away, which is really cool because you see that. Sir Squeeze, stop trying to get in on this. I told you could sit here, just be quiet. I actually tried a new technique. I got a brand new, I wanna highlight, brand new, I even opened it on camera, toothbrush, and used that to wipe away paint because I wanted something with stiffer bristles to really create texture. I thought it was cool. To add even more depth to my pumpkin stem, I brushed the entire thing with some yellow color dust and a dry brush. I also brushed on some yellow and ivory color dust to the very top of the stem just to make it look more realistic because his finger is always dry for some reason. Now that Pump's high five hand has been painted, it's time to paint his body. I'm just gonna dilute a little bit of ivory food coloring with clear alcohol and paint the entire pumpkin. It just brings a little bit of, pumpkin oomph. Allow the paint to dry and then it's time to add the stem. Usually when I make gum paste details, I make them days in advance, but you don't want your gum paste stem to be completely dry because when you try to shove it down into the little pumpkin nook, it might crack and break. I need to ask Pumps a question, and I hope it's not offensive. I noticed that you and your friends have a lot of scratches. Do pumpkins scrap at night? What's going on? So I used my paring knife and literally just scratched the surface of my pumpkin here and there. And then they also have dirt. Is there a pumpkin fight club? What is it? I mixed together some ground ginger and ground cloves, which are in my pumpkin spice batter, and used that as dirt. Pumpkin spice. Get it? This is now pumpkin spice squared or rounded. This cake was delicious. Make sure you head to howtocake.com for my pumpkin spice cake recipe as well as my chocolate ganache. They went so well together. Don't forget, I do new videos every single Tuesday. Please subscribe and thanks for watching. Come, say thank you. It's gonna be a year before you see them again. Bye!